Good afternoon, everyone. Remember when Union Pacific Railroad said that they were suspending services due to too much container flow? Now that might be extended to 2 weeks, and the temporary measures may spread to other hubs across the United States. You could say the Taco Bell ingredient shortage is from this, but that started a week prior to the container shutdown. Food prices spiking 14% before October. Some of the coldest temperatures ever recorded in Brazilian coffee production areas. It looks at least 50% of all Brazilian production gone for this year. Massive 20% spikes in the market in these last few days. And instead of buying kilograms of coffee, I'll be stacking kgs of silver. Apple recently released a long-awaited privacy feature that prevents you from being tracked across websites. Facebook relied on tracking more than any other business. So it's no surprise they're trying to change this. Apple users now have the ability to choose whether or not they want to be tracked. Opting out will prevent their data from being used for ultra-targeted ads, such as age, location, health information, and your browsing history. While this is a step in the right direction, this new feature won't completely protect you online. To do that, you'll need a VPN. You can head over to virtualshield.com, and in the download tab, I'm going to choose Firefox. And click Install Now to add the Virtual Shield add-on. It's just that easy. And get started with your free 30-day trial. Install it, click Connect. You'll see the shield turn from red to green. And you'll see how, from my initial service provider, I was able to even change my IP. Virtual Shield Network protected. Try Virtual Shield risk-free for 30 days and another 30-day money-back guarantee by visiting virtualshield.com/adapt2030 and get 30% off for life by taking advantage of this custom deal. That link's in the description box below. And now on with the video. And you knew the narrative was going to go like this. It's going to start for 7 days, and then magically other companies join in, and it's extended, and it's moving across the United States to hubs. And if you're unfamiliar with the Union Pacific Railroad West Coast stoppage of container cargo all the way to Chicago, and that was originally focused on Long Beach Port and Tacoma Port in Washington State. The company announced that they would halt all international inbound cargo traffic because it was so congested in Chicago that obviously not enough workers, where these containers are stacking miles high that they can't get them off the terminal. And even with this suspension of cargo, the Chicago terminal is still so stacked up and backed up that they're considering extending it. Just give us 7 days to relieve congestion. This is a pretty well-covered story because it's affecting so much further outbound cargo. Everything's delayed in the agribusiness arena as well. The dismal harvest from the wheat coming out of the United States, record cold across South America. Pivotal time right now to get supplies to farmers, and across the way, things are being delayed by 7, 10, 14 to 20 days. How's that going to work for our food production? And lo and behold, I went to the international news to see how they were covering the U.S. container stack up. And where does it say here? 2 weeks. That's what they're quoting in foreign media about the United States and inbound cargo not being shipped from West Coast ports. And another knock-on effect, or they call it discharging at the marine terminal, meaning unload the vessels, put those boxes on rail and get them out of there. Since that's halted, all unloading of ships coming into the United States, they're stacked up across as far as you can see off the horizon. So I don't know what's going on with the labor, but the thing that made me really question anything that's being told to us now about how long these delays are going to continue. And running rail, this is where the bulk cargo comes from. Quote, if the current scenario does not improve, meaning the containers don't get moved out fast enough from these different terminals, these temporary measures may very well spread to other ramps. Now, other ramps are other destination terminals as well, other than Chicago. So they're already front-running the next location that's going to have a stoppage. If this does not wake you up that there are not enough workers across the heavy goods delivery supply chain, I don't know what's going to. At this point, if you can't see everything crumbling across the entire, what we understand, just-in-time delivery system, perhaps this will help you put it into context. Taco Bell impacted. Nationwide shortage of ingredients. Now, they ping part of it to the droughts in California, not being able to grow as much lettuce due to water shortages. Okay. Tomatoes, they can't get it delivered in from Mexico. Okay. But what about the tortillas, the flour, and all this full list of things that they cannot get? Onions. And I would like you to explain how a subsidiary of a Fortune 100 company is unable to get vegetables to continue to run their operations. And I found a couple tweets that were earlier from the last week. Now, this event's been going on a few more days than the rail stoppage. So this was something else in addition, but it overlays and dovetails into supply chain constraints. We got a real problem here. Taco Bell employee told me there was a national shortage of everything right now. And this guy getting word right on the street. I have decided to get my economic news exclusively from the drive-through employees from Taco Bell right now. So that's absolutely true. Those people working in the Taco Bell probably are the best source of information on how much longer these shortages will last and if they're getting any new supply in. Also, Jenna talking, anybody craving Taco Bell, save the drive. They got no chicken, no beef, no black beans, no hard shell, no tortillas, no tacos, no onions, no tomatoes, no lettuce. And I'm thinking, I thought Taco Bell owned their own farms for this very purpose, like McDonald's owns their own cattle ranches. Although destroying their Amazon rainforest for that, but that's a different subject. Over to Business Insider, food prices could spike by 14% before October. Oh, that is the rosiest forecast ever. 14%, more like 50%, but surely not 14%. That is so understated. Now, this is the CEO of the New York City supermarket chain. I was talking to Fox Business. This is at the wholesale level at 14%. But I really think it's going to be much, much higher, especially with all these supply chain breakdowns happening right now. Where are all the workers for this? I know they're having trouble keeping drivers on the roads. That's only one aspect. But how are the ports shutting down and how are the rail yards not able to process that container throughput? I mean, that was a well-oiled science for 100 plus years, and now we can't get it moving? Something's really wrong here. I mean, really wrong. And continuing into the article, they were very clean not to give you the full information. They withheld that. He didn't say whether he was talking about supplier prices or supermarket chain prices or wholesale delivery prices at the farm gate. They never told you where those price spikes are coming from. Because if it's farm gate spike price, well, wholesalers are going to be paying more, and wholesalers are going to pass it on. So that 14% might roll up to 60% by the time it touches your fingers as a consumer in a supermarket. And if your money's only going to buy half the amount of food, we got a huge problem on the streets. But the specifics in the article, prices are rising because of falling production, lack of available workers, supply chain problems such as shipping delays, and that soaring consumer demand should be relabeled as panic buying as soon as anything hits the shelves. And then we have this grand solar minimum throwing in an enormous amount of damage on the crops this year. Shrunken growth seasons, extreme cold. We're going to jump down to Brazil here for a second. Some of the coldest temperatures ever recorded across the coffee growing regions. So Brazil being the number one coffee producer in the world. All eyes on Brazil. A wicked cold snap with record cold temperatures. Below zero, that's Celsius, so that's below 32, below freezing. Coffee growing regions were about 29 to 25 degrees Fahrenheit, coldest since the early 1990s. But the problem was, like I experienced in Myanmar, coffee plants got damaged, top leaf kill, but it was so intense there. When you look from the air, those coffee plants would normally be green, foliage covering the fields. That's black and brown. That's a dead plant. So when you look at this blackened forest of coffee plantations from frost and extreme freeze, forget the frost, it's like solidly to the point where they're going to be ripping up these plants because they died. And this is in Cerrado. We've seen this again and again with the record cold temperatures over the last 3 years. Same exact region. So if I was going to go out and bet about next year's coffee production or the temperatures there, I would say below normal next year as well. So you can find more information coming out. This is a developing story. I was able to get this here. Parana also, 40% of all coffee production severely damaged, if not full dead, soil layers 4 degrees Celsius below zero. That's putting it at the mid to low 20 Fahrenheit range. Situation's getting worse, and when these plants thaw out, everything's going to fall off. Any production is gone. 1 million bags loss out of the entire world's production. It's going to raise prices. It raises a few eyebrows. Not catastrophic. 2 million bags is considered a loss globally for the entire coffee industry. 5 million bags means your prices are going up 50 to 100% on coffee if you choose to drink it. So to put it into perspective, coffee prices are up 20% this week alone. And the damage is not even completely tallied yet. This is just from the cold front coming in and wiping out the crops that they can visually see. They've done very little accounting on how much production has been lost. Strictly Arabica coffee futures on this one, taking us back to 2014. This is definitely going to tick northward. That's inavailability and doubling prices. So how equipped are you to take care of these things that are all around us right now? Food inflation, shipping delays, inavailability, lack of choices, store closures, and all the writing's on the wall. The hyperinflationary deluge is at our doorstep here. Sandbags are out, but the water's lapping over that. As we enter this collapse and chaos phase, food is going to be more difficult to get, and it's going to get really expensive, doubling prices by the end of the year. And then again, if you buy it, is it long-term storable foods? Huge difference in getting something at the grocery store and putting it in your freezer or having it in a Mylar bag that can last for 20 years. 2-week or the 4-week emergency food supply. Adopt 2030 My Patriot Supply. They also have the 1 month, 6 month, and 1 year food supplies as well. That link's in the description box below, as well as the links to everything I've covered tonight, so you can do your own research and see what a conundrum we sit in right now. We are at the precipice of the biggest changes since the Roman Empire. And you're going to want to think about water and water filtration right along with the food. And I wish you the best, because we're holding on to the rail of the Titanic right now. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.